the Smart 120. Why did we choose it? I think we were desperate to find something that was a bit cleaner, a bit more controllable, a bit greener. We went through a long process of looking at different options. We hadn't got mains gas, so we looked at LPG, which wasn't an option because of price, and we didn't want to go down the sort of gas and the fumes and so on. We looked at oil very, very briefly, but we weren't interested in oil. We then looked at air source heat pumps to the extent that we had a company out to look at the house and give us an assessment. And then we looked at this system of biomass, and it was our daughter actually who rang us after we scratched our head for quite a bit. And she said, what about the Klover system? That's how we came to hear about the Klover system, was talking to our daughter in London and talking about the biomass system and the Klover stove. So then we had to find a supplier for a Klover stove. We looked at a supplier in Cardiff and then realised that there was a local company that did biomass boilers and several other heating sources, and that was BirdsHill. I have to say it was a really refreshing experience to have Nick coming along, assessing the property and saying, well, we do air source heat pumps, but I agree with you, I don't think that they would be suitable for this property. And have you looked at the Klover? I said, well, yeah, this is why we've called you, because we've heard about this Klover system. So he gave us an honest appraisal, I think an honest price point, which very unusually he stuck to and in fact beat. When we got the final bill, it was actually less than he'd originally quoted. And the timing as well. I mean, although there was an interruption with the COVID pandemic, he came back to us at a very timely period of time and quoted a start time, which the guys arrived. They took 4 days, which was the time that we were told, and as I say, the installation went really, really well. But on top of the stove itself, we were very, very pleased with the system, the pressurized system that goes with the stove, because up to then we'd been living with a very inefficient, small brass system in the bathroom, and then we had this state-of-the-art thing fitted in 4 days. So that has been a very, very efficient addition to the actual stove itself. So the result is, as you can see, a very attractive stove, because we've always been people who've cooked on ranges, heated with ranges, but they've always been wood and coal, and we've never had that efficiency. We've never had the ability to program it a couple of hours before, an hour before we get up in the morning, and this is able to do that. So we get up to a warm house and we go to bed with a warm house, because of the fact that we can time it to suit the sort of way we live. In the evenings then, we run it side by side with a wood burning stove. So where we live in the evenings, where we watch TV, where we have our meals in the evening, that's heated by a wood burning stove. So it means then that we have two systems concurrently running. I've got a fairly economic, often free source of wood, which we use on the wood burning stove, and then we use this particular stove to mainly cook in the winter, hot water, and obviously heating the house. In fact, I think we can foresee that we'll be switching off that radiator that we have by the window in the same room as the stove, because we won't need that heat. So really, this heats the entire floor area of the kitchen and the living room, and then we have the wood burner in the smaller room next door. The other thing that's very impressive is that in our old range system, which was a Spanish range that we had two ranges. One was the last Spanish range, and previously then we had a French made range. and both of them needed a lot of stoking. Interestingly, the Spanish range quoted a 34 kilowatt output, and this one has a 25 kilowatt output. But there is absolutely no comparison with the amount of stoking that you had to do with the previous one compared with this one. This has a quiet little trickle of pellets coming down every couple of minutes, whereas we were stoking that with buckets of coal effectively and logs to get the same efficiency. So whilst this on paper has 25 kilowatts and the other one at 34 kilowatts, the efficiency of this one, which is an A-rated boiler effectively with 90% plus efficiency, was far more efficient. And of course, the problem with solid fuel traditionally is that you've got heaps of coal ash and wood ash that you have to get rid of. But the amount of wood ash that trickles out of this, and we clean it once or twice a week with a hoover, which was supplied by BirdsHill. They were very, very effective in after sales. So we were able to put that either on our vegetable garden or straight into our compost bin outside. So in terms of cleanliness, and Jane, I think my wife would agree that we certainly haven't got that layer of dust everywhere that we did with the previous system. So that's the efficiency. One thing that I was a little bit concerned about in looking at pellet boilers was that it was suggested to me that pellets, that the companies producing the pellets have a little bit of a monopoly in terms of price point. And that hasn't been the case. Once I started looking at the pellets available, the companies producing the pellets, I saw that there was a big disparity in pricing. All of them were A-rated pellets, all of them were RHI compliant, but there was quite a difference in price. There could be as much as £80 difference between in terms of the price of a ton of pellets. So we are able to shop around, and we found a really good supplier, good quality pellets at a very, very competitive price. So I think in terms of heating, it's working out cheaper actually than coal, and certainly far more controllable. The other advantage, of course, is that is because it is a green, renewable energy source, that we're able to take advantage of the RHI, the grant that is available, which more or less covers actually the entire fitting of the system, which includes the Klover boiler and the actual system up in the bathroom. And I think, if you can have a look at that system up in the bathroom, I think you'll be quite impressed with the quality of the fitting and the way that the guys have managed to fit such a big system into what is a very, very compact cupboard. And little things actually, in running the electric supply to the boiler, so that there's a match. They've actually run the electric cable through copper piping, so that there's a direct match with the copper piping that is there already. So little things like that, I think, just show the sort of quality of the work, the craftsmanship of the guys who fitted it. So we were very happy, coming in on time, coming in on price, below actually the quoted price, and the quality of the work. I can only praise Nick and his team, in fact.